on Steph's night in just a minute. But first, he's Randy. I'm Nicole. Tim Legler's here, which is almost like getting donuts for breakfast.
Yeah, what time is it?
Yeah,
one of the few people who knows how it felt to be Klay Thompson last night. You've been in that zone. The most made threes you have in your NBA career in a game?
I think 7 is the most I made in an NBA game.
You ever start 7 for 7?
I did in college. I had 15 straight over a 2-game stretch.
What? So 7 for 7 and 8 for 8 in college.
But it's not like this. This is NBA. This is 24 feet.
Let's go college to the pros now. And it's a different game than when you played, but that man, Klay Thompson, as hot as you've ever been, as anybody's ever been. Steph Curry going to miss. DeMarcus Cousins. Cousins has been a nice find. He was in the starting lineup last night, and he created opportunities for Klay.
He is so skilled, and he's going to get so many opportunities to play with space because of the shooting on this team. That's a nice hustle play right there by Cousins. Get on the floor, a smack out pass to Klay.
I say nice find like he's some undrafted rookie. My point is he's been a nice addition to this already stacked lineup. Look at the creating space in a tight window for Klay.
And Cousins' passing ability right there, drops it off Globetrotter style, and Klay comes and picks it up here again. That guard split action when it goes into the post. Boogie Cousins' passing ability fits perfectly with this team.
21 points in the first half for Klay. Started out 3 for 3 from distance. The Dubs only had 6 made threes at the break. They were only up 10, but then he went nuts in the third quarter.
And Durant actually passes it up right there. He has a wide open shot, but he sees Klay running to the corner, and he yells at everybody and points, says, no, get it to that guy. He's feeling it right now. Again, Tyson Chandler a little bit late to step up, and Klay keeps it going.
5 for 5 is Klay to start from distance. Durant said we were sold out looking for him. You have to continue to feed him until he goes cold.
And Durant sets a screen there, and he's talking to the screener as Klay makes that last one. Now Klay gets it out of the backcourt.
That's a heat check. We could use that around this campus, considering it's 5 degrees outside. 7 for 7 from distance was Klay. His 8th three-pointer goes as well. Only 11 points for Steph last night. That's fine. Klay was hot.
Absolutely unbelievable. And the thing I love about this team is when one guy gets cooking like this, even though you've got all this talent around him, they're going to milk that as long as they can, and because they can do special things. They've broken a lot of records over the years, this group together. Klay breaks another one.
10 for 10 to start. Ty Lawson did it in 2011. The last guy to even make 10 in a game was Chandler Parsons. Here's the first miss, and even that almost went. So Klay has his third 40-point game in fewer than 30 minutes played. No other player has more than 2. He only went for 27 minutes last night, finished with 44 points. That is the shot chart, and that is the shot chart that you dream of. Let's hear from Klay.
Never hit 10 threes in a row in a game. That was hard. I mean, that's hard to do. I thought I had 11 for a second, but that's basketball.
Did your dad say anything to you after the game, or did you have a chance?
I'll see him in a few minutes. He's probably just telling me good job. Should have had 50. Should have gone for 50. It's never good enough for your parents, but, you know, that's life.
It was 10 straight?
He had 10 straight to start.
That's impressive.
First time ever.
That's the first time ever?
Yeah.
Man, it's like a new record every day, ain't it?
Yeah.
Stick around. Yeah, that's impressive.
The 44 points for Klay Thompson in this one, tied for the third most in NBA history by a player without a free throw attempt. He had 20 field goal attempts in last night's game. That's also the fewest of any player with a 40-point game without a free throw attempt.
So you mentioned Steph just a bit ago, right? Steph had a fairly quiet night by Steph Curry standards, just 11 points. In the third quarter, the Warriors were up a lot. Now, keep in mind, he hasn't dunked since January the 15th, 2018. That's not going to change. Yeah, like falls to the ground. Now, we're laughing at him. We're also going to, like, he could have gotten hurt. Am I the only one? Is that like the mom in me?
Absolutely.
Like, oh my God. And then he airballs a three-point attempt. Like, it was just not your normal Steph night. That's okay. We're laughing at you. We all are.
When Steph lines up for some monster dunk and you see the try.
You think Steph was lining up for a monster dunk? You seen Steph's dunks?
He was going to try something.
I thought it was going to be one of those layups where he just pulls the rim down a little bit to make it seem like a dunk. He's done a lot of those over the years.
You get scared at all when you see Steph go down like that? That's kind of a rare.
He's a grown man. He's 30 years old. I ain't getting scared.
Oh, it was awesome, right? You liked it? Back-to-back hilarious plays. Happens to the best of us.
Sure, it does. Okay, the Warriors didn't need him to score more than 11 points. They won 130-111. All right, let's get to this other big game last night. It was the Rockets and it was the Sixers. So you've got James Harden Taking on a Sixers team that didn't have Jimmy Butler. He was out with the right wrist sprain. Corey Brewer, on a 10-day contract, had the job of guarding Harden last night. Take a listen to what he said before the game.
The way he's playing right now, nothing can help you. I'm just being honest. You know, you got to go out there and do what I do. You know, it's been a pest and playing hard.
Is there some trash talk, anything tonight? Or?
We always talk trash to each other, so I'm sure it's gonna be right up his alley. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Something like that. 3 minutes left in the half. Sixers are up 12. J.J. Redick going to make this, but I want you to keep your eye on Brewer and Harden. Right there. And then he stays with Harden. Then they shove Brewer down. What are you seeing here?
He's just trying to deny him the basketball. He hovered over him a little bit. James Harden got up. That's a heck of a flop on the part of Corey Brewer. And Harden lucky not to get called right there. The referees didn't fall for the bait.
He just blown in his ear. Harden now driving by his little Embiid, throwing that one down. You think that's like him making a statement?
Well, a little bit. I think more than anything, though, he saw Embiid lifted so high he could get around him. That's one of the only times in the game Harden got to the rim without getting a shot blocked.
Not sure if you saw what happened there. Embiid standing over Harden before giving him a little shove with his knee. They would be separated, then both of them were teed up. Now Harden, a few minutes later, missing the three. Watch Ben Simmons flips it out to Brewer. Brewer with the jam. I remind you, Brewer's on a 10-day contract. He was like, a couple weeks ago, I was just sitting there playing superheroes with my kids. Superheroes.
Yeah.
Harden is called for the foul.
Yeah, I didn't like that, to be honest with you. I thought right there, Corey Brewer putting his shoulder, basically into the abdomen and the lower part of James Harden's body, and Harden just basically flicked him aside with his right hand. I didn't think that should have been an offensive foul.
Speaking of the blocks, how about that one from Embiid? Massive block. He was like, hey, I love playing against guys that you guys say are better than me.
He got his shot blocked 5 times in the first half on drives, and I think you see in the Clint Capella effect because some of those would have been drop-offs for dunks, but he doesn't have that guy, so he has to try to finish, and Embiid and Simmons and those guys were there to beat it up.
Actually, 6 block shots, tied for the second most block shots in his career in a half. The Rockets trailed 65-50 at the half. Harden, though, did get the 3, so he does get his 20th straight game with 30-plus points, but the Rockets trailed by as many as 31, and Mike D'Antoni was like, dude, we were due for a game like this. What exactly is he talking about? The fact that they were due to get blown out, the fact that they were due not to hit shots, the fact that they were due to let Embiid just walk all over them?
I think it was mostly the supporting cast lack of making shots. This is one of the worst that Harden's had around him this season.
Embiid had 32 points. 24 of them were in the first half, and the Sixers take down the Rockets 121-93. Fareed, by the way, played for the Rockets last night, his first game with them. He had 13 points and 6 rebounds.
It was fun. We beat them by 30, it was really fun for us. I don't think it was fun for them.
I was happy. Get to play basketball. I've been sitting at home playing with my kid. I've been playing superheroes every day, so I was really happy to get to play basketball.
Wilt was doing some obviously unbelievable things and numbers that nobody will ever catch. But just to be in the same conversation as those guys is a credit to the work that I put in, and I mean that's what you play this game for, to be listed with those guys, those top players. Obviously, I got a long way to go, but this is a pretty cool beginning.
All right, he's talking about this insane run that he's been on lately. Spent a quarter of the season being unstoppable. Since December 13th, he scored 845 points. That's an average of 42.3 a game. He's accounted for an insane 54% of the Rockets' points when you factor in the assists. He's created 1,261 points in the last 20 games on his own. You can't score without shooting. He gets his 545 shots in his last 20 games, including 308 three-pointers. And Harden gets to the line now, 282 free throws, works out to more than 14 a game. He's made 251 of them. How does he stack up, though, against the rest, the best of the NBA? You put that production into context. He's got close to 300 more points than the next closest player in that span. That's Paul George. Next closest player in terms of offense created, Russell Westbrook at 40%. Remember, the Beard at 54%. He's got 100 more shots than Westbrook and 100 more free throws than Giannis. Westbrook leads in assists. Despite all the shots, Harden's second in assists in his last 20 games.
Which leads me to sort of like the interesting conversation, because I feel like when you're talking about the Rockets, it's a two-part conversation. You have James Harden, and then you have what the Rockets are doing as a team. Can we just start with Harden here? He's putting up an insane number of points. how can you at least attempt to contain him?
Well, a couple of things you have to do. First, you have to have the right personnel up front. You have to have athletes that can switch out on him and play him well at the three-point line. And I'll show you what I mean. Philadelphia uniquely qualified with Simmons and Embiid up front. And I talked earlier about not having Clint Capella, and that's a big deal because he didn't have anybody to drop it off to if the shot blocker comes. So right now, Philly knows he's basically going to be going to this step-back move, right, constantly at the three-point line. The problem is when you're doing that against a 6'10 guy, there's just not going to be any space there. So you say, all right, well, let me get this guy off me. Maybe I can go over here and operate against a different player. Well, now it's Joel Embiid. And at 7'1", pretty athletic, slides his feet. But now you're getting deep into the shot clock. And again, now you're pinned to a point where you try the step back, but you've got a guy 7'1". He's just going to suffocate you in there. You see nobody in the paint for James Harden even think about driving and dishing to. You end up with this. I mean, you talk about a difficult contested shot. Look at Joel Embiid hand on hand. You can't even see James Harden in this shot. It's a moon ball, comes off. That's one way. Have athletes up front. Here's a second way. Corey Brewer right here is already denying James Harden in the backcourt. So you're making him use extra energy. Philly had Brewer, T.J. McConnell, Ben Simmons, whoever it was, picking him up full court, trying to deny him all over the floor. So you see now Harden's going to go to the weak side, and they're going to try to free him up. Here comes Gerald Green to set a screen. Harden thinks he's going to come over here, just get an easy dribble handoff from Kenneth Faried. Watch J.J. Redick shoot this gap, and you get another denial, and he's trying to force him out to half court. Problem is, for the Rockets, you're getting deeper and deeper into the shot clock. So by the time he catches the ball, we're at 10 seconds. He's already expended a ton of energy even before he gets it. And now Philly knows you got one thing to worry about. James Harden deep in the shot clock trying to get a shot. Look at Embiid. He doesn't even worry about the fact that Kenneth Faried went to the rim. The late blitz, this is the second thing you can do on him. So deny him the ball first, make him work, and then the late blitz deep in the shot clock. Now you got a chance to really have a poor possession here on the part of the Houston Rockets. Nice job by Philly. You're going to see them zone up all over the floor, stay with the shooters, and Harden is forced now to try to make a play deep into the shot clock. And then this, symptomatic of the night. When Eric Gordon and Austin Rivers and Gerald Green shoot the ball the way that they did last night and virtually take no pressure off of James Harden, you get a team just fully loaded up on one guy, and now you get a blowout. That's what happened with Houston last night.
A lot of those plays you were diagramming, they were down 25 points. I mean, you're talking about step-back threes, down 25, late in the shot clock. So what can they do offensively, given the fact that Clint Capella is not coming back anytime soon, and we don't know when we're going to get Chris Paul back?
Well, Kenneth Faried gave him good minutes last night. He just got there, and I think that's a great pickup because he's a guy that's got a lot of energy. He's going to be able to set those high ball screens, dive to the rim. He can catch it in traffic and finish. Not going to replicate what Capella does because with Capella, you're throwing the ball up to the top of the square if that backline shot blocker comes. Faried's going to be a different kind of finisher, but at least it gives you another body in the paint that you have to respect on his dives. He hasn't been there very long. Good thing for him. Not a deep playbook. It's basically one set for 48 minutes. It's a high ball screen for James Harden, and then just get out of the way and dive to the rim. So he doesn't have anything complex to pick up here. He's going to be somebody that can help them. They're just waiting to get a Chris Paul back. And Eric Gordon is usually better than he was last night to take some of the pressure off him.
Gordon, when he's hot, can be one of the best shooters in the league. Harden already is. He's averaging a mere 38 points in his last 4 against his next opponent. It's a get-right game at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. Tim Legler with the insight.